Hope you're happy. Are you happy? So now we once again get bounced in the second round. We lose at home at the Wells Fargo Center in Game 7, mind you. So we blow it at home in front of our home crowd, 103-96. I only wish the crowd would have booed louder right at the end. I just shut it off. So disappointed. But you know what? We deserve it for blowing back-to-back 15-point leads in Games 4 and Game 5, when if we would have just won one of those two games, just one of those two games, we're moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. But we didn't do that, did we? We didn't do that. We had our best regular season in 20 years, only to once again be another second-round elimination. It's the same shit. So, nothing more than a second-round playoff elimination. So we went through all those years of the process with Sam Hinkie, drafting players that didn't play, drafting players that got traded. The god-awful 2014, 2015, and 2015-2016 seasons. Remember those years? Those were some great years for the Sixers, weren't they? So we went through all that. So many Sixers fans were like, you got to trust the process. You got to trust the process. Well, guess what? We tried to trust the process. What has that got us? A repetitive second-round playoff elimination. And yes, we did get eliminated in the first round by the Celtics in 2020. But out of the last 4 years, that's 3 of those 4 years, bounced in the second round. No matter what, we're going to get bounced in the second round. Tried to make some upgrades, brought in Dwight Howard, Seth Curry, Danny Green, Doc Rivers as our new head coach, Daryl Morey as general manager, and guess what? Still a second-round playoff elimination. It wasn't the whole point of this process to finally build a championship-winning team. But if you can't get past the second round, what does that do? And I'm going to be honest. I was never a big fan of this whole process. Remember those god-awful years we went through? Remember so many Sixers fans were trying to sell me on, you got to trust the process. You got to trust the process. I want to know, out of all those fans that wanted to trust the process, you still trust the process, do you? Are you happy with going through all that just to be a reoccurring second-round playoff elimination? Is that what you're happy with? Are you? Because I know I'm not happy with that. I was really hoping we could at least, we technically could, but because this happens every single year. Even with the new head coach, new general manager, which I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, even with that, we're still a second-round playoff elimination, okay? Nothing's changing. So please, just tell me, why would anyone still be sold on this? Because I remember a previous job I was working at, some of my coworkers were trying to prop up the process. Oh, we get Embiid healthy, we get Simmons healthy, get a few more guys, we could be a championship contending team. Well, here we are a few years later. Embiid, he's at least played several seasons. He was in contention for MVP this year. And while we're still on that, I want to give my props to Joel Embiid. He went out there on one leg, basically, and sacrificed everything for this team. If you tell me Joel Embiid doesn't want to win after that, I don't know what else to say, because what Joel Embiid did on one leg, going out there, sacrificing his future, sacrificing his leg, sacrificing the rest of his career for this team, shows that he does want to win. And he's the more true MVP of this team. He's got us where he's at. And Joel Embiid, thank you for going out there, giving it your all, even when you were not at 100%. Thank you for doing that. But anyhow, where was I? So a few years back, they were trying to sell me, some coworkers trying to sell me on the idea that, hey, give it a few more years, it'll all work out. And I was never high on this whole process thing. I had my doubts about it. And well, here we are a few years later. I now feel more than vindicated, saying that I wasn't a huge fan of this process. All this tanking just to build a championship team. And we can't get past the second round. And I still feel we should have brought back Jimmy Butler, but I can get into that a whole nother time. But the deal was between Brett Brown and Jimmy Butler Well, we let Jimmy Butler leave. But then Brett Brown gets fired the year after. I mean, I don't know where we would have been with Jimmy Butler, but considering the way we looked in this series against the Hawks, we could have been better. I mean, we could have been better off with Jimmy Butler. Who knows where we'd be? Who knows? But now we'll never know. Oopsie daisy on that one. Any note, I mean, the Sixers, they deserve it. They did. So, like I said, those two 15-plus point leads, if you just win one of those games, just one, you would have won the series. We would be playing the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals, but instead, we're facing another second-round playoff elimination. And Ben Simmons, I'm sorry, but if he doesn't have the guts to actually step up and try to shoot, or even try a wide-open dunk in the fourth quarter, I can't trust this guy. He's more of a liability than he is an asset. I'm sorry, but he is. Ben Simmons is a liability to the Sixers at this point. If that's what he's going to be, you're probably going to have to trade him at some point. I mean, I would have to think about who would be a good trade partner for Ben Simmons if we're going to go through with it, and I could discuss that at another time. But anyway, I did promise I'd talk about Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey a bit. Now, Doc Rivers did a great job during the regular season. Doc Rivers is a good, maybe even great regular season coach. He is. He's done an excellent job in the regular season throughout his career. But one thing that is constant is the Doc Rivers playoff curse. Even with the Boston Celtics, yes, they won a championship with Doc Rivers as their coach, and that is his main highlight as a coach, I'll grant you that. But remember, he also did it with a super team with KG, Pierce, and Ray Allen. So that kind of helped out a bit too. But considering they had a bit of a super team going, they maybe could have won a second championship out of that. But hey, they did have an opportunity in 2010. They fell short against the Lakers. So I'm not going to clamp on them too hard for that, even though I do feel they could have found a way to win a second championship. The Clippers, okay. You could argue that they didn't have the greatest team. But even then, at one point, they had Blake, CP3. They could have maybe made a run to at least to the Western Conference Finals out of it. Remember last year with PG-13, Kawhi? They were up 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets in the second round, and they blew it, and they lost the series. Remember that? And where are the Clippers at now? Oh, wait, they're actually in the Western Conference Finals without Doc Rivers. I mean, granted, they lost today to the Phoenix Suns, but the point being is they made it further without Doc Rivers than they did with him in the playoffs. And now the Sixers. Here we are again. Doc Rivers, our first year, second round playoff elimination. And it's only his first year. Yes, that's true. But guess what? It's a continuation of Doc Rivers' struggles in the playoffs from previous teams now crossing over to his run with the Sixers. And Daryl Morey, when he was general manager of the Rockets, they always fell short in the playoffs for one reason or another. So you're bringing in guys with good regular season credentials, but you're bringing in guys that also struggled in the playoffs. That's the thing with bringing in guys like Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers. That's what happens when you bring in guys that are good in the regular season but struggle in the playoffs. You run the risk of more playoff eliminations. And for anyone wondering, seltzer water, club soda, any note. It's going to be another long off season for the Sixers, man. Just feels like we're freaking cursed for the second round. It's like no matter who we bring in, Dwight Howard, Danny Green, Seth Curry, it just doesn't matter. Drafting Matisse, you got Matisse, it just doesn't, seems like we're never going to get past that. But believe me, we went through all these years of the process with the promise of a championship team to come. How much longer are we going to wait on that? How much longer are we going to buy into it? Honestly, I want to know. And for me, I've never got to see the Sixers win a championship. So I'm still waiting on that. I got to see my other team, the Eagles, win a Super Bowl. I got to watch it in real time and enjoy it. But the Sixers, I'd never seen it in real time. The last time they won a championship was 1983, before I was born, before a lot of other Sixers content creators were born. In 2001, I I remember it a little bit. Like, I barely remember the 2001 finals. Like, I was really young at the time. I remember bits of it, but I don't really remember. I remember it more from highlights and watching clips of it looking back than I do in real time. I got to see the later portion of Iverson's run. Got to see Mo Cheeks as the Sixers head coach. Remember how well that worked? I got to live through the Iggy years where he carried them into the playoffs as an 8 or 7 seed, usually with a losing record and getting bounced in the first round. Then we lived through the Sam Hinkie years, the god-awful draft decisions they made. Then if we get through all that, okay, 2017, 2018, they made it to the second round, and that was great at the time to finally have a playoff year, good in the first round, made it to the second round. Okay, good start there. Come back the following year. We have a bad break our way against the Raptors when Kawhi Leonard makes that 3 on us. What do you think? Hey, we re-signed Jimmy Butler. We can still compete in the future. But we don't do that. Instead, we get eliminated and swept by the Boston Celtics in the opening round in the 2020 playoff bubble. Make a bunch of changes. Come in 2021, win our opening series. Coming in the second round, give away a winnable series, which that's the thing that frustrates me about this the most. This could have been an easily winnable series, but we didn't do it. This is why I was, even as we were doing great in the regular season, and it was a great regular season, I wasn't singing Doc Rivers' praises because I had a feeling this could happen in the playoffs. And if Doc Rivers wants the benefit of the doubt, how about next year you step up, you learn from your mistakes, and actually make a run next year? Then I'll give Doc Rivers the benefit of the doubt. Because it's ultimately come playoff time, the regular season don't matter. It's about winning championships. I'm not doing any of that. So it's just frustrating. But at the same time, I'm not surprised either. Before I finish this up, I want to give the Atlanta Hawks credit. They came in there, they were hungry to win this series. They didn't give up. They played hard. They fought through the 2 deficits. They made comebacks in games 4 and 5 to win those games. They played good tonight. So I'm going to give the Atlanta Hawks credit for coming out of this the better team. So congratulations, the Atlanta Hawks. Best of luck in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Sixers, man, it's more of the same, Sixers fans, just more of the same. And I'm just going to leave it at that, man. So it was a good regular season, but another disappointment in the playoffs. And at some point, there's got to be more than just second-round playoff eliminations. And I don't know what else to say, so I'll leave it at that. Those of you guys, those of you guys that watch, thank you for watching this video. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. That's all I'm going to say. Nicky Steve signing off, and I will see you next time.